Good morning, Gabi, Colorado. This is Russ Knowlton, your regional director. I'm here with Kelly, our regional ops manager, Jenny, our regional MCA, and Leslie, our regional tech trainer. We got a bunch of announcements to get us rolling. At the end of today's call, we're going to be making a big announcement about our keynote speaker for the 2024 Rocky Mountain Summit at the end of September, the 25th through the 27th. More on that coming soon. Leslie Jackson, take it away.
Hi, everyone. This is just a friendly reminder that I'm offering classes for you every Thursday at 11 a.m. This week, we're going to go through how to create a direct mailer in campaigns. That has been a huge ask from a lot of you who have been joining my classes. So spread the word. We're going to learn how to circle prospect with a direct mailer, as well as the 21st, understanding how to create a quick flyer in command in under 30 seconds.
Love it. Is this you too, Leslie?
I can take it. Oh, yeah, or Leslie can.
Oh, and well, all of my classes are also being recorded. So if you missed any of my classes, they are uploaded on the regional channel. Oh, yeah, this is me again. Oh, this is exciting. So save the date, January 30th. We are going to have a social media masterclass for you all. We're bringing in some amazing guests and also people that you might already know as well. We're going to talk about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, lead conversion. What do you do with all those leads? We're going to bring in Tyler Shields. As you know, he's an expert at that. And we're going to also teach some artificial intelligence. Spread the word, again, January 30th from 9 a.m. to noon at the PPA Event Center.
Yep, and just real quick on that, I'm hoping to have the Eventbrite up either later today or tomorrow. So hopefully it'll be open for registration either today or tomorrow.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, on Friday, we sent leadership the 2024 regional calendar. And just as a little preview, in January, as Leslie just mentioned, we're going to be doing a social media masterclass. Regional awards, save the date. They're going to be at the Ritz-Carlton on March 8th. Wait a minute. Kelly, are they going to be at the Ritz-Carlton?
Yes.
They're going to be at the Ritz-Carlton on March 8th. We've got My Freed Life with Jordan Freed coming March 27th and 28th. April 10th, List Your Buyers for Success with Nikki Ubaldini. And April 17th, KW Wealth Workshop with Brett Tanner. So that's just some highlights for the first 4 months of the year. We are really excited about this calendar, which again has been sent to your leadership. More details coming soon. All of our events can be registered for at www.kwcoloradoevents.com. You can also register to be notified as we put new events on there. Kelly, is there anything up right now that one would go there for?
All of Leslie's classes are up there. So that's what's up there right now. And then I should have, again, hopefully to have the social media Eventbrite up later today or tomorrow.
Awesome. Speaking of training, coming in 2024, we're going to be launching the Rocky Mountain Educational Services. The Rocky Mountain Educational Services is designed to provide in-market center, high-level training for your market center. And we are looking for instructors who will partner with us to take great training throughout Colorado. We're going to be having some training for the trainers later in January. If you are considering becoming KWU Master Faculty, or if you just like to train, we are looking for you. We want to talk to you. Kelly, what should they do if they are interested in this?
They need to get recommended by their market center leadership. So all of your market center leadership has a form. We've asked them for recommendations for trainers. And so if you are interested, then connect with your market center leadership so that they can let us know that they are recommending you. And if you've taken Train the Presenter, that question has come up. You do not necessarily need to take Train the Presenter again in January. However, you will have to go through the Train the Trainer Advanced and pass that and become certified through that. So some people want to take Train the Trainer or train the presenter again. Some people don't want to take it, but we will be offering the second class to get all of our instructors certified.
We've got a tech update with Leslie. Leslie, are you sharing your screen or am I sharing mine?
Nick.
You're sharing yours. It's the next slide, Russ. Thank
There we
you.
go.
Yes, this is so exciting, everyone. We have TikTok ads in command. Yay. So get excited, dive in. You don't have to have a TikTok profile, just a FYI. So for those of you who are like, ooh, I don't know yet, just go and play around with it. It's really awesome. It also automatically includes a lead gen form or a lead form capture. So it'll force register that person, automatically place them in command, send you a notification, which is amazing. And then just some, tidbits around TikTok is that really the TikTok app loves when you use their app to create a video, but make sure that you're adding text and music and lights and camera and action. Okay, so get ready, have fun, and capture leads. This is amazing. The next best thing about this is that you can automatically get those leads tagged and placed on smart plans, just like we have on Facebook, just like Facebook ads do. So
Leslie, for those who don't have any idea how to do this, like what advice would you give them? Is there upcoming training or anything about TikTok coming up?
You know what, Russ, I think that's a great question. Anybody who has a Market Center tech trainer, go talk to them because they are already trained in this platform. And also I will provide a class for you guys. Just wait, I'll bring that in January.
Awesome. Love it. Anything else from you, Leslie?
That's it.
Okay, let's go to some recognition for November's production. Top individuals. That's just one person. Top individuals on closed units at number 5, Faith Young, Jackie Stratton, Sean Ewers, and Porter Ergon with 5 units each. Laura Springer closed 6. And the top 3, Jenny Hart with 9, Lauren Volono with 13. I hope I'm getting your names right, and if I'm not, sorry. And Sheila Bailey leads the way for closed units individuals with 16 closings in November. On to volume. Maureen Evans, 3 million plus in Summit County. Caroline McQueen, 3.2 million plus in Foothills. Porter at 3.6 from Denver Highlands. Jackie at 3.969 from DTC. Number 6 is Allison Wall from DTC at 4.3. Mikkel Smith from Denver West at just over 5 mil. Jenny Hart at just under 6 mil from Longmont. And the top 3 were Bonnie Peterson at 6.5 plus, Sheila Bailey at 8.6, and Lauren at almost 9 million. Congrats on the volume. GCI, Caroline at 70,000 from Foothills. Maureen Evans from Summit County at 76,000. Porter at 88 and change from Denver Highlands. Heath Ruggles from Southwest Colorado at 90,000 in GCI. Number 6 was Jackie from DTC at 90,000. Allison with 112, also from DTC. Jenny Hart was number 4 at 137,652. Great job, Jenny. And our top 3, Mikkel Smith from Denver West at 148. Sheila Bailey at 158 from Denver West, and Lauren at almost 250,000. Congratulations, top individuals. Moving on to teams. Teams means 2. With 3 units, number 5, Daniel's Home Team, Seed Property Group, Hoffman Group, Dynasty Property Group, the Q Group, the Livingston Team, Acosta International, the Vincent Group, the J&J Group LLC, and the Onyx Group from Pueblo. Great job. Number 4, with 4 units, the Skinner Team from Summit County, Signature Home Team from Northern Colorado, Mike Porter from KW Client's Choice, the Massey Team from Grand Junction, High Cap Homes from Denver Downtown, TK Homes from Denver North Jeffco, also from their Home Group Inc., and from Client's Choice Urban Colorado Real Estate. Great job. And our top 3, 5 units, the Wilson Team and Innovate Properties. The Artisan Group and Team G&S came in at number 2 with 6 units, and Connie Smith's Sims Team with 7 units took number 1. Great job. Moving to volume. Signature Home Team came in at number 10. Home Group Inc. came in at number 9. The J&J Group at number 8. The Massey Team at number 7. Number 6 was the Connie Sims Team. Number 5, the Wilson Team. Bill Davis Property Group came in at number 4. And number 3 was Innovate Properties with 3.170 million. The Artisan Group from downtown Colorado Springs at just over 3.6 million, and Dawn Howe Group from Grand Junction at 6.25. Great job. GCI, the Artisan Group, 54,000 and change. TK Homes at number 9 with 55,000. Home Group Inc. at 59,000. Signature Home Team at 62,000. Number 6 for GCI was Ali Van Westenberg Partners. Connie Sims at number 5, the Wilson Team at number 4, and our top 3 for GCI teams, Bill Davis Property Group at number 3, Innovate Properties at number 2, and Dawn Howe Group at number 1 with 161,875. Congratulations, teams. Moving on to groups. The Luchik Group came in at number 10 with 7.25 closings. Number 9 was a tie between Hudson Stonegate, Pristine Properties, and Kibler Group with 8 units apiece. Tony Greer at 9 units took number 8. Number 7 was the Real Estate Guy Team from Denver Highlands. Number 6 was a tie between Empower Home Team, Colorado Front Range, and Colorado Lifestyle Real Estate Group. Dixon Group at number 5. Jamie Baker Orr at number 4. And our top 3 for closed units were the Towner Group from Grand Junction with 14, Elite Home Partners at number 2 with 18, and the Johnson Team took number 1 with 23 units. Great job. Moving to closed volume, the Alchemy Group from Denver Highlands at 3.8 million, Luchik at 3.8 and a little bit more. Number 8 was Towner Group with just under 5 million. Number 7 was Pristine Properties with just over 5 million. Number 6, Your Real Estate Guy Team from Denver Highlands at 5.6 mil. Number 5 was Colorado Lifestyle Real Estate Group at 5.6 million. The Dixon Group took number 4 at just over 6 million. And our top 3 for closed volume were Empower Home Team, Colorado Front Range at 7.7 million. The Johnson Team at 9.8. And Elite Home Partners led the way at 12.8 million. Great job all. Moving finally to GCI groups. The Tiffany Home Team was number 10. Luchik Group was number 9. Pristine Properties was number 8. Your Real Estate Guy Team, number 7. Number 6 was the Dixon Group. Number 5, Towner Group. Number 4, Colorado Lifestyle Real Estate Group. And the top 3 were Empower Home Team at 193,000, came in at number 3. The Johnson Team came in at number 2 with 229, and Elite Home Partners led the region at $316,300. Great job all. Market centers for November. Denver North came in at number 5 in closed volume. Partners at number 4. Denver West at number 3, Denver Downtown at number 2, and the number 1 market center for closed volume was DTC. Great job. Units, Client's Choice, 76, Pueblo, 94, Partners, 105, DTC, 127, and Denver Downtown led the way on closed units with 129. Finally, listings taken. Denver Southeast took 46, Denver Downtown took 51, Partners took 60, DTC 74, and Pueblo, I think, has been running an 11-month streak here. 77 listings taken. Great job, Pueblo. Cato.
Good morning, everybody. Let me share my screen here real quick. Russ, can you see my screen?
No, we can't
No,
see your
sir.
screen yet.
Yeah, okay, let's. Always love Zoom.
I can see your email.
There we
Now I
go.
can see your screen.
Okay. All right, so let's work a little bit of an end of the year wrap up and talk about what we expect to happen in early next year. GDP, while most of this was defense spending, we're at 5.2%, which was absolutely an incredible number. And it's a Band-Aid because it's mostly defense spending, but it does help the country quite a bit in this time where we need a little bit more. We did see again an increase in profit as well. So we're looking good there. The inflation rate has slowed down for sure. We're down to 3.2. We still want to be at 2%, but this is trending the right direction. If you listened about 3-4 months ago, I told you I expected them to raise rates up until probably May of next year. They're now talking about decreasing rates as soon as January as a possibility. I've heard anything from January to April. Of course, the Fed is not going to telegraph that completely because they haven't seen all the numbers that are going to come out between those periods. But the price of oil coming down has helped this quite a bit. We are looking that the CPI is still in good shape, and I have limited time today, so Kelly will send you these slides so you can look at them.
You're good, Cato.
Oh, okay. You told me I had limited time.
10 minutes.
The unemployment rate for Colorado was 2.8% in October. It rose to 3.3%. You're actually going to see a discrepancy between what is written and what is on the slide. I'm going to tell you what is written is directly from the Fed. Was on the slide was a secondary source looking at it, so I'm not sure why they're slightly above, but please realize that this just kind of gives you an idea of what's going on around in the country, and that Colorado overall is sitting very well on the unemployment scale. That being said, that really does help our housing market quite a bit come 2024. So one of the things we need to take a look at as we move into 2024, however, are banks. And I'm just using JP Morgan Chase Bank as an example. Their last quarterly report to the FDIC basically stated that they had $400 billion in unrealized losses. That is a massive amount. It's more than 10% of their portfolio. It's almost 13% of their portfolio. And why that's important is to understand that because the monetary supply is shrinking, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and because rates are up, fewer people are borrowing money, and the banks have had to pull back on how they're lending money out. That being said, there's a lot of corporate bonds and other debts that need to be paid back. So start looking at the banks. You really want to start prospecting them some, because there definitely will be some REO business, both in residential and commercial, coming up in 24. With that being said, I had these slides in last month. I wanted to keep them in this month just so you could see them again. On the far left side, we have basically the country's debt. We definitely have a pretty big issue with the Treasury borrowing a whole bunch of money. And really what they're doing is they're borrowing on credit to pay down the interest on loans rather than paying down the principal. And so it'd be like, you know, if you had a teenager who got a credit card to pay the interest payments on a credit card that they couldn't afford. These type of things will need to be worked out. Keynesian economics is great until it isn't, and now we're starting to see some of that. Now, that is not to scare you. That's actually to say there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you as realtors moving forward. Right now, we're at 4.278 for the 10-year Treasury yield, which is a pretty high yield. So that's actually good for a lot of investors, both domestically and internationally. Same banks on the watch list right now that we just expect to see over the next 5 to 6 months possibly be going under. With that being said, this slide has become more of an issue in the last 3 months or so, in that the corporate debt securities, while the Feds will lower rates, it does not mean that the banks will be able to change their lending standards as quickly. lending standards tend to take a while. You can change them overnight to be stricter, but it's harder to change them back. So while the Fed may drop rates, there are going to be a number of banks that are going to be harder and harder to get loans from. One of the things I'm going to task you guys with and ladies with is to go out and find the banks that will have a little bit of more of their own money to lend so that they have a little more flexibility as this market shifts, because we're going to see some pricing demand issues, and you're going to need banks that are going to be able to service your clients better on that. Now, one of the things that's going on in Denver is approximately 30% of Denver's office space, and this is just the city and county of Denver, is vacant right now. It's an extremely high amount compared to where we've been the last few years. Unemployment-wise, we're great. Financially, the state is actually in a great place, but this could be foretelling of something coming in the future. The U6 unemployment number is 6.8. That's actually very good. That means we're right around, I think it's about 3.2 for the U3 in the state. So we're actually in a good place, but you want to start looking at what's going to happen as we move into next year. We do have some zombie buildings out there, and actually, let me go back one. The TIAA Cref building here, which you've all seen going downtown right off of Broadway, that one just went into default last week. There are now 7 skyscrapers in Denver Metro that are in default. So it's something just to pay attention to there. The economic outlook for Colorado is that it is slowing, however, it is still strong. All of this works well, and this will see us get a positive amount of people moving in. So we have a net gain in Coloradans over the next year is the anticipated amount. Now, you will see that we are still seeing that buyer sentiment is extremely low. I'm going to tell you, I think that this is one of the best times for people to buy real estate in Colorado, and here's why. If the Fed lowers the rate in January, that will actually cause a release of the floodgates of all these buyers that are sitting there waiting for rates to go down. So that will create increased competition. Anyone who's on the fence right now, they're better to get in and refi a little further down the road. Now, please be careful with what you're saying. There is a class action lawsuit out there now where they're going after agents who said, marry the house, date the rate, because people didn't understand what it meant. Please be very careful how you disclose things. No one can predict what's going to happen with the economy or rates more than probably 2 or 3 months, 6 at the outset. So be very clear with people that it could be a few years before rates come down to where they want them. But we have increased pressure on pricing right now, and we know that rates will come down some in the next year to 2 years. I'm not going to make a prediction more than that, but it is likely that it'll happen in the next 6 months. With that being said, I have 2 charts here. The top chart is the M2 money supply since we put the first stimulus check out, just so you could see what happened to the economy. When you put more money in, the money devalues and it creates inflation. Well, the reason that you're feeling the pinch in the real estate market is because of this chart on the bottom, which is the last 12 rolling months, which shows you how much money's been pulled out of the market. And so with that being said, banks are not lending as much, rates are higher, people are feeling the pinch. So when you add inflation to that, this is why the real estate market feels the way it does. This is a good set of charts to use to talk with your clients about why they're feeling the way they are, so you can address that concern up front, so you can work on getting them into your into the new property they need to buy. Probability of recession has not changed any in the last month, so it's still elevated, but that's nationwide. Again, Colorado looks better than most of the country, even if there is a recession, so we should have a net migration into the state. Rates, the Fed is meeting starting tomorrow, and what would that be, Wednesday? We don't expect any change whatsoever. There's only a 19.89% chance that they'll raise rates. No one's really expecting them to. The dot plot on the right side here tells us that the Fed is liking what they're seeing, that they are expecting rates to come down relatively dramatically over the next couple of years. we're really looking at probably in 2024 about a 1.25% drop overall on rates. We're not going to go back down to where we were, but we will see some easing there. Today in Colorado, rates are averaging about 7.03%, so down about 0.27% from October. If you remember with Case-Shiller, I had mentioned that we expected to see one more month of growth before we saw a seasonality flux. And so next month, I would assume you'll see that point on the far right on that left chart start to dip down a little bit again. If the Fed raises rates, if the Fed drops rates in January, then we'll see this drop a couple months more, and then it'll start to rise again, just based on elevation of values. All right, mortgages. Mortgage applications been going up lately. We've seen way too much of the beige bars over the last year. We're starting to see more people put applications in. We're not really seeing it across the board with any of the MLSs right now, or with the showings. However, we are seeing that we're getting the applications in. So we should start to see some shifts in the market coming in, I'm going to say January to early February there. In the Denver metro market, median close price is down 2.71% to 565,250. Closed homes is down 15.94%. Total volume down 18.85%. We're sitting at about 2.5 months of inventory. Again, at 6 months, we become a balanced market. That doesn't mean bad. That just means we're not seller, we're not buyer. So we're still a pretty strong seller market in Colorado right now. Median days on the market are 22. Please check the local areas you work in. I have one up in my area that's 61 days, and I have another one that's 14. So there's a big flux between those right now. Active listings is 6684 with 2717 new listings and 2712 pending listings. So I want you to realize that closed homes was 2664 and new listings was 2717, which means our days on the market will go up some unless we see some pretty big shifts in the market here. So again, one of the things that I talked about last month that I want to talk about this month is our real job as realtors is to help alleviate the fears that people have out there. I was watching Bloomberg this morning, it was doom and gloom. I watched CNN earlier this morning, it was doom and gloom. You watch Fox, you get the same thing. Make sure your clients understand where the real numbers are at so that they can make the best choices for themselves, their families, and their portfolios. It's actually a great time to be buying right now, and it's looking better and better. Now, we might go through a slight recession, but that is not anything more than simply a correction in the market. So that actually is something that as long as they're planning on keeping this property 2-3 years, they're probably very safe with it. Please make sure that when you're listing, you're pricing them to be in the market, not just on the market, because you don't want to be following the market all the way down. I'm going to say this over and over and over again until we get back to the strongest sellers market we've ever seen. When it comes to what you need to do moving forward, please, please, please make sure you are calling your sphere and growing your sphere on a daily basis. You got to have a database, you got to feed it every single day, and then you got to work those leads. Please go to Family Reunion. It's going to be amazing this year. This will be I believe it's my 23rd. I don't miss them. They're worth every penny, and if you do them right, you're going to get it paid for 5 times over just by the referrals that you'll get out of it. Go on at least 3 listing appointments a week and start using your excess income to invest in real estate. This is truly one of the best markets. My investors and I are all looking at big deals right now and running through them. The guests that we're going to have will probably be phenomenal on that piece of it. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're reading and learning every day. Please pay special attention to what's going on in the commercial market because that will influence the residential market as we move forward. And keep watching the banks, watch the credit unions, see what's going on there. We're definitely going to have some REOs. We're already starting to get BPOs in for my REO group, and we haven't seen many short sales, but I would guess some of those are coming for people who won't have a lot of equity. Russ and Kelly, I'm going to put it back to you.
Right, thank you, Pito. When we did a survey after Rocky Mountain Summit, we asked you what training you want for 2024 in Colorado. Two things that came up over and over again were social media, and that's why we're doing the January 30 event, and wealth building, and that's why on April 17th we've got Brett Tanner. Today we've got Gabi and Priscilla from KW Wealth here to talk about wealth building. Gabi, welcome to KW Colorado. Take it away.
Hi, Russ. Hi, KW Colorado. It's wonderful to see you guys. And hey, Priscilla, great to have you with me as one of our most engaged mastermind members. I figured, no better time than today to hear it from those who've been with us since the very beginning, since Brett and Gary launched KW Wealth, and to hear what some of our mastermind and community members have been up to. And so I asked Priscilla to share all the goodies of her personal journey through KW Wealth. And we also brought just a couple of visuals along today for those of you who may not really know what KW Wealth has been up to, because I know we're getting inundated with a lot of communication from our great communities. So let me pull up the slide deck here, because first things first, we get to share that we are not attorneys. We don't play them on TV, unfortunately. What we're going to be sharing with you today is our pieces of information based on Brett's and Gary's personal journey on all things wealth building. And so please know that these are just ideas and suggestions that others have implemented, and you should, of course, always be seeking advice from your legal counsel and your CPA. Oop, let's see here. Perfect. So one of the questions that we'd like to ask our members at the end of this year and this season is, are you ahead or behind of where you want to be with your business and investments goals? And one of the things that Brett and Gary are really big on is to create what's called a wealth GPS, right? All of us are certainly familiar with what a fiscal plan can look like around business and business management. And one of the things that we at this time help our members create is a wealth GPS around cash flow and the types of assets that they may need to procure in order to build massive wealth. Priscilla, we talk about that $50 million net worth plan, yet of course the reality is that is a great billboard title. Wealth is personal, and wealth cash flow goals look different for our members, and yet we encourage everyone to think big and aim high so that you can start and act small. Priscilla, would you mind sharing what one of the things was that you did early on as a new member and then as a mastermind member that helped you to think big and actually chunk it down into tactical and practical application?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing was we have a wealth scorecard, and it's several pages long. And so I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed, but the scorecard's broken down into categories. And so that was very helpful for me to just take one section at a time and execute that way. So for example, I made an appointment, in the first mastermind I attended, I made an appointment with my CPA right away, made some changes, and the biggest impact was saving myself about $100,000 in capital gains from a mistake I had made with an investment I was already involved in. So that right there paid for my my mastermind tuition tenfold. So that was really big for me. And then since then I've just been executing in those different categories. And I think right now I'm up to $7,300 increase in cash flow per month since starting the mastermind. So
that's pretty really incredible.
Yeah, it's very life-changing for my family.
That's right. Well, and I'm sure it would be it's life-changing for most families when you know what your baseline is, step one, and then you create that awareness, which we happen to do through this tool, which is 6 or 7 pages long at this time, because we just keep adding to it as we are refining the scorecard sections that are really based on these 4 key elements that you see on the screen. because when folks think net worth or cash flow, they tend to think this thing called money. And yet what we like to cycle through in our community are really the pillars that make up your stools of net worth that also do include, how you can create more money or cash through proper business management, business optimization, sometimes, building ancillaries or growing success through others, through your business or other lanes of how you want to make money, more money out of your money that you already have, or to protect it, right? And so we spend a lot of time making sure that our members also have the proper entity structures in place so that you're building those legacies worth leaving that hopefully no one will ever take away from your family. And then finally, insurances. I think all of us are familiar with basics like auto insurance, or perhaps if you own a home, right, you have had a conversation with an insurance broker, yet how well do you know how you're insured and what impacts those insurances have if, heaven forbid, you have to use them? So the way that we break it down is what Gary and Brett have designed into really 8 pillars of wealth. And the simplicity of how we break it down is through we think of it like the 7 levels that you may have been reading about in MREA of how somebody scales business management. And we think the same way of these 8 levels that an agent will probably go through on their journey to building wealth. So you go through those 8 pillars, yet every level will look differently as you're starting to think big, right? Start to grow cash flow by potentially buying that first rental or stacking that first set of T-bill ladders. And so as the cash flow grows and the risk, ends up needing to be mitigated, or insurances may have to change because that net worth grows, that we have several different levels through which we take you in our curriculum to continue to scale. So think of it like a flywheel. It's one of our favorite body movements that we like to make, because whenever you get to the investment side, you probably begin to scale again into that next level of scalability until you reach levels of investment expertise like Brett or Gary. So one of the visuals that Priscilla and I talked about, because we shared this at the mastermind that we had for our KB Wealth members and family reunion that seemed to get rave reviews, was this idea of sharing financial models, right? As we mentioned at the beginning, we are not CPAs or tax advisors yet. What we found that works really well for our members is to simply understand different varieties and ways that we are pulling information from financial experts to create something that folks can hang on to, right, through a series of models. And this has got to be one of the favorite ones. Priscilla, do you want to walk our audience today through what they're seeing?
Yeah, so this is basically, it's you have a target for your retirement and any sort of cash flow, annual income that you want to achieve. And based on this chart, you can calculate what kind of net worth that you're going to need in order to hit that target. So I think the biggest aha that a number of us had we went over this at Mega Camp, was that a lot of us at our table were aiming too low because it was so achievable. So I think like mine I think ended up having like a 7 million net worth. And Gabi, if you can help me like just walk through the formula, because I know Brett walked us through the formula. And 7 million, like that's not that difficult, considering in the last 5 years when I've been working with a coach, I got up to quadrupling my net worth. And so 7 million wasn't going to be very difficult to hit when I have, another 20, 30 years ahead of me on this net worth path.
Yeah, and the idea would be that in this model, that you would simply take what your average annual income is, and you would actually multiply it by 20. Why by 20? Because if you think about your average annual income also changing, for those of you who have businesses in growth mode, right, that annual income continues to change. So instead of having one static outcome or number that you think about as your lifestyle and your income changes, to have that moving goalpost and to simply multiply that by 20, so that you're also ideally outpacing inflation. Right, because that has been something that folks have become extremely aware over the last 3 years, as inflation has exploded compared to the previous few years, so that you hopefully stay ahead of inflation and would have enough in assets and net worth available, so that when the time frame comes that you get ready for retirement, that you would be able to create a safe withdrawal rate. Right, some folks use a 4% rule over a period of time and have enough money left at the end of your lifetime to be able to have enough to withdraw on an annual basis. So if you ran the math and you used your your annual income times 20, that might give you a net worth goalpost. Now, when we talk about net worth, we're specifically talking about assets that over time can generate cash flow for you, right? So we're not talking about buying this incredible mansion that's going to be your primary residence, because we can't use that to create cash flow until much, much later in your life. Then we have some options, but we're talking about an investment assets, or things that would get you a cash on cash return. And yeah, for those of you that are thinking now, well, if we're trying to beat out inflation, and the past few years we've been quite high above the 3-4% that we would prefer to see as consumers in the US society, then you are probably running the math and thinking, oh my goodness, well, that does actually mean that every couple of decades, right, my cash flow has to double for me to be able to continue to live at today's lifestyle, right? Making an assumption that it's not going to increase down the road. And for some of us, it may not, right? Because as you grow in experiences and wealth, you may be the type of person that says, I've had it all, and I won't need as much as I enter different phases in my life. And some of us have really big goals to, pay it forward, or to put kids through college, or to create experiences that you haven't yet had. So this idea of creating a big outcome, right, is something that you want to play with, so that you can, again, have an end in mind and be in relationship with a model, to use the model to determine for your family or for yourself if that average annual income in this example times 20 is enough for you, or if it may not be enough. Who knows, right? Because if you want to give $1 million to your local zoo, that number may frankly not be enough. And the way that we introduce thinking about the conditions of money is a visual that you may know straight from MREI. Gary and his authors of MREI have been sharing this for many years in the book, yet I found that my coaching partners sometimes forget that it's in there, and I find it to be super powerful. We had to add screaming Brett Tanner in flames up next to the wealthy money, which means that sometimes the wealthy money, or where you create high returns, are really noisy, just like Brett Tanner right here on the top of the screen. And the way that we break down the 4 conditions and talk about it in KW Wealth is for our members to think of the different rates of return that they're getting, and in which cases, right, the money, because you're not going to beat inflation, is in fact deadly, or may actually take you a step back on the returns that you want to generate to grow your money. For example, it's entirely possible, Priscilla, you may not know these folks in your world yet. I know I have a couple of friends who prefer to see their money, and they prefer to see it in a checking account that is likely yielding 0.01% interest. Well, the trouble is, every year that they continue to make that decision, they are creating dead money, and they're actually taking that step back while inflation is pulling the world forward, unfortunately. So the first thing that we create in our curriculum is awareness, to create some easy, somewhat safe and or very safe investments, in a case like T-bills and T-bill stacking, for you to be able to start thinking like an investor, making greater returns than ideally the 4%, to start churning the money into safe money. Priscilla, might you want to share a couple of things that what you've done to create or to move from the safe money to the healthy or even the wealthy money options? You've had some good.
Yeah, absolutely. I was the one who was guilty before coming into KW Wealth of having hordes of money just sitting in a checking account, because I liked seeing it and it felt safe and it was comfortable. And after really going over this model of the 4 conditions of money, I really saw how much I was really losing. And so it really wasn't difficult to put them into action. One of the first things I did is I set up like an infinite banking account using a life insurance vehicle. So now I've parked that money into a life insurance fund, and I can I'm using it now to fund hard money and getting anywhere upwards of 12%. I've converted some investments into, like, one I have was a very poor performer, and it was a long-term rental. I ended up selling it, owner financing it, and taking it from a 2% return to 14% just in that one move. And so just having that awareness around what these conditions are, and looking at, and I monitor my money now. I was already monitoring it every month, but now looking at where I can maximize returns and what I'm feeling comfortable and safe having in some safe money, versus definitely moving more of it into the wealthy money, healthy money categories. That's been very different for myself and my family. And we've seen the velocity of our money turning a lot quicker, thereby increasing our cash flow, net worth, all of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like your investment accounts are growing faster than ever before. Yeah,
Ever
congratulations.
before. Yeah.
It's like there's that flywheel again, right? Because a lot of times of what we'll see is our members come in, they create this awareness, right? They understand the idea of the 4 conditions of money, and they begin to identify where their money lands. And 99% of the time in our community, it lands somewhere between the dead money and safe money, right? And then we infuse, based on where they are, then with training around what we can do to create healthy money. Now, those of you who may have rentals, right, you may already live in the zone of healthy money on rentals that you bought at hopefully low interest rates, or at a great price, or perhaps you've been enlisting methods like the BRRRR method to buy something right under market value and to improve it yourself over time. And probably those investments will fall under healthy money. And for those of you who might be in the commercial space, you may be used to, again, this is all when interest rates were low and we were purchasing assets in the first place, that wealthy money is where you are accustomed to seeing your returns, right? It's not uncommon that if you're purchasing mobile home parks, RV parks, or commercial buildings, that you start in that wealthy money category, and that is all before you take any advantage of potential deductions or depreciation on your real estate. So we have some trainings on how we can help folks with that flywheel. But really, the coolest thing that I've been able to observe is that folks will start wherever they are and slowly move up 1% at a time. And they see how, even with very little money that one might have in the beginning in that investment account, just how quickly it grows, because now there's connectivity around understanding the returns and then making different decisions. So one of the fun PDFs that Brett has created alongside Gary for Family Reunion was Brett Tanner's wealth plan, right? Of understanding systematically what is the starting point for someone to create a net worth statement. So we have this is the other tool that we arm our community members with, and that you'll also be getting, of course, for those of you attending our workshop in April, and help you create a tool for you to step on your financial scale. Right? It's a way for you to understand, where are my assets, where are my liabilities, therefore what is my net worth, right? How much of that can I use to be able to reinvest or to invest at a different condition so that my money can work harder for me. And then know what your big number is so that you can begin with that end in mind and create the plan to go from there. Brett and Gary, as you all know, loves to pick numbers that are so big that it might even scare you. Brett has used that $50 million model. Why? Because for him, it was significant. He has 3 beautiful children, a gorgeous wife, and he wanted to make sure that they would forever be safe, regardless of what might, happen to him down the road. So for him, it was 50 million. He understood what cash flow through the investments that he has made would have to generate, and how many he would have to buy. And for him, in his world, that ended up being on the single family rental side. Why? Because he had access to that type of deal flow, having a real estate team in Phoenix, Arizona. And on the other side, also learning how to become the bank. Brett is really, really big into being the bank and understanding how banks make money with their returns. And he's done really a super job, Priscilla, to introduce us to all the national experts on becoming the bank or infinite banking concepts. And that's also something that we lean very heavily in on our conversations with the mastermind members. This is the group that meets physically 3 times a year and listens to those national speakers and friends of Brett Tanner's Rolodex and on all things infinite banking and asset management. And then finally, of course, right? Constructing your personal model based on the financial education that you may want to obtain based on a model that makes sense for you. Perhaps you love, short-term rentals. Do you know why you love them? Do you understand what the gift and the risks are of that particular asset class? And what the return averages are based on the best practices or the books and the podcasts you've read on that thing to build your own model. And then, of course, in our community, we celebrate when folks pull the trigger after creating the plan to execute on the plan. Priscilla, remind us again. So in the last 12 months, it sounds like you have remargined some of your investments. I heard like there's a rental. And what did you do with it again? And how did the returns change specifically?
So it was a rental. I actually purchased originally as a fix and flip, blew my budget, which happens probably too often that I care to have it happen. I've been doing fix and flips for about 20 years now. And I ended up converting it into a long-term rental, but that return was just very low because of the budget being blown so badly. And I ended up, after being introduced to some of these concepts, that I could just sell the property anyway, but using owner financing. And so I ended up selling it and creating a note, and I sold it with a large down payment up front, plus the note. Now the return with my cash in went from 2% to 14%. So just making that one change.
Not a bad day in the investment world. Absolutely. Great job for pulling the trigger on it, right? And Priscilla was one of our mastermind members that came in, and she said, I'm not really sure where to start and what to do. And so we helped her understand the concept, right? Analyze the deal. She was so inquisitive about, understanding what the contracts would look like and how to go through the legal processes of it. And 2 to 14, I mean, that's not the waist size that I would want to grow on, but certainly the ROI on my investments, that's for sure. So bottom line is, at KW Wealth, the entire point that we're trying to make is to make sure that you understand, that you are loving, understanding how to create a business out of your money, and that our goal is to introduce our members to uninterrupted, passive investments and compounding returns over time. Now, that will mean that in year one or on day one, you may be starting with some investments that, based on your time frame, might be louder because they're going to give you those higher returns. And then over time, that as you scale in your flywheel, that you also make the decisions to diversify and to ultimately create passive, uninterrupted compounding returns. We have 2 options for you to consider joining our community, perhaps after you see Brett in April as well, and see how he creates 8 hours of jam-packed information based on real life stories, the good, bad, and the ugly, on what he has done to surpass $50 million in net worth in less than 10 years. And in our community, we offer 3 trainings a week on what that looks like, based on those 8 pillars of wealth. They're all digital. We have a resource library, Priscilla, that has at least 1,000 hours now of recorded calls, of trainings on hard money, becoming the bank, insurances, entity structures, the 8 pillars. And then for those of you who think, I've got levels 1, 2, and 3 likely already down on that flywheel, I want more, perhaps you want to get in touch with Priscilla, if you don't mind putting your email in the chat, and talk about what the next mastermind meetup may be looking like, January 24th and 25. And join us in the physical meetup group that will be probably full. We are capped at 200 members next year. And so if you are interested in that, feel free to reach out to us at your earliest convenience.
All right. Thank you, Gabi. Thank you, Priscilla. This was super helpful. And we appreciate you being here today.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us, Russ. See you soon.
All
Thank
right.
you.
See you soon. Okay, finally, we wanted to make our big announcement that we promised you. Kelly, can you see my screen?
I can.
All right, we are announcing today our 2024 Rocky Mountain Summit keynote speaker. The summit is the 25th through the 27th of September. It's at the Height in Vail, and I'm going to just play our video here.
What I want you to understand is growth is a catalyst for the success of your life. You got to stop thinking, can I? And start thinking, how can I? So everybody faces the difficulties. It's inevitable. But the option of learning, now that's a choice.
I don't promise you it will be easy, but I do promise you it will be worthwhile. Remember this, growth precedes greatness.
Whoops. All right, so John Maxwell will be our keynote speaker for the Rocky Mountain Summit. We're super excited about this. In about the next 7 to 10 days, we'll have the Eventbrite open. There are 2 opportunities to see John, the Rocky Mountain Summit, but also we're going to be announcing a VIP package if you want to have breakfast with him. More details coming soon. Thanks for being on the regional rally today. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas. See all of you in the new year.